Yo, what's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and we are continuing our little mini series today as we look at all of the divisions. And after 82 games into next season's schedule, what are the standings going to be? And today we are taking a look in the Western Conference at the Central Division. Now, the Central Division is, I'm going to say, for the most part, pretty certain. There's a couple teams here and there, and we'll get to that. But toward the bottom, there is a little bit of the haves and the have-nots, and we'll get to that today. So we're going to start off at number 8, and that is the Chicago Blackhawks. Yes, I have the Blackhawks being worse than the Arizona Coyotes. That's tough to do, but the Chicago Blackhawks have completely blown things up. No more DeBrincat. We will not see Kane and Taze there at the end of next season. Kirby Dach is gone. This is just a complete flushing and just completely redoing everything in Chicago. Kyle Davidson comes in. They move out some goaltending. They move some things around. Peter Mrazek is going to be their goalie next year. We'll see how that goes. Gonna take a guess. Probably not too good. But the Blackhawks definitely have some weaknesses. Their blue line is still okay, but not great. Same thing for their forward group. They keep pulling guys away, trading them out. It's going to be a rough season in Chicago, and I do think they will finish at the bottom. And number 7 is not saying much here for the Arizona Coyotes. I don't think they're going to be anything great next year either. But you're looking at more of the prospects. Do we see Dylan Guenther make the team out of training camp? Do we see the continued emergence of some of their younger defensemen? I think that's really what you're hoping for here. They had some veteran additions this year. They brought in guys like Bukestad and Josh Brown on the blue line. So you're hoping that maybe that gives them a little boost, but this team is still very far from being a Stanley Cup playoff team. Number 6 is the Dallas Stars. Now, the Dallas Stars, my thoughts on the Stars are this. If their goaltending can hold up somewhat, right? Again, Ottinger was very good last year. He has to continue to be Ottinger. And they need that scoring depth from the top guys, from their stars. They need the stars to score. Figuratively and literally. Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn, those guys need to be better. There's no doubt about that. You need to see those guys continue to be on their game, and that just really hasn't been the case the last couple years, and that's why I don't have much confidence in Dallas. Ottinger is going to make things very frustrating for Stars fans because they're going to sit there and watch a lot of 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 games saying, if we had just scored a couple goals, we would have won this game. But I think that is the issue for the Dallas Stars, is their lack of scoring. Losing John Klingberg, not necessarily a good thing there. That's a hole on the blue line. They do have young guys that are coming up, like Thomas Harley, but they don't bring that same level of game. Alex Radulov left to go back to Russia, so that's another scoring piece gone. So again, you're hoping that some of the younger guys replace that, but you're asking for a lot from the young guys, and your stars have not been your stars recently, and it's hard for me to keep them in a playoff spot next season. Number 5, the Winnipeg Jets. Yeah, I haven't been high on the Winnipeg Jets. There's a lot of questions about Scheifele, Dubois, Wheeler. But I do still think that the Jets will be in the running. I don't think they're a playoff team, but they've got some really solid goaltending in Hellebuck, kind of similar to the Ottinger situation, but different in the sense that I think Winnipeg has more talent than Dallas does and more depth. But I do think that both of these teams are going to be extremely frustrating because they both have great goaltending, but they kind of have kept everybody together, really haven't rocked the boat. You look at both of those teams, their cores are fairly the same over the last 5 or 6 years, and that's kind of what we're looking at here. I do think both of them missed the playoffs. So now we get to the playoff teams in the Central, and at number 4, it's the Nashville Predators. I think the Predators are going to have a little bit of a comeback season. I think Nashville is going to be a little bit better than they were last year. They had not a great start to the season and got all the way back into the playoffs. UC Saros was incredible, went down with injury, which obviously didn't help things. So a healthy UC Saros, you added McDonough to the blue line. I really like the Predators. I think they will be one of the better teams in that Central Division, and I do have them making the playoffs and maybe even going on a little bit of a run. We'll see what happens. And number 3 is the St. Louis Blues. I'm pretty high on the Blues, but they're still missing that it factor, right? They keep looking for guys like Matthew Tkachuk, but they seem to be wanting to go away from the Tarasenkos and players like that. So a lot of this season will rely on a lot of the younger guys too, right? You know, Jordan Kyrou had an incredible season last year. Their blue line is still very good, one of the better blue lines in the National Hockey League. And then goaltending. You know, that's my biggest question with the Blues is their goaltending, because Binnington did not play well last year, and Ville Husso is no longer there. So you're going to see a little bit of a change there, and I hope that they're able to make it work, because that is a critical part of the game in the NHL. And if St. Louis struggles in between the pipes, it could be a very long season for the Blues. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we're not thinking like that. But as of today, that is still a concern for me. But the rest of their team, roster-wise, top to bottom, one of the best in the league. I think it's just the goaltending that does still kind of scare me a little bit. And that takes us up to number 2, and that is the Colorado Avalanche. Yes, the defending Stanley Cup champs. I think they could have a little bit of that cup hangover in October and November, but once we get into the new year, going into the trade deadline, they're going to be ready to go. They're going to have the momentum. They got a really good hockey team returning this year. A couple of guys not there anymore, but it's really not that big of a deal. As long as Georgiev can be a good enough goaltender for them, similar to what Darcy Kemper was for them last year, they're going to be just fine. I'm not really too concerned about them this year. I think the Avalanche have some really good pieces, one of the best, the best blue line in the National Hockey League. One of the best center cores and forward groups in the NHL. Rantanen, McKinnon, Landeskog, Nichushkin. I mean, you go up and down that lineup. Just a ton of talent. And I think they're going to be really good again this year. And then number 1 in the Central Division. Again, this isn't who I think is the best team necessarily lineup-wise, but how I think the standings are going to play out. I think Minnesota could win the Central Division next year. And that sounds like a little bit of maybe going a little for the wild card, reaching for it a little bit. And yes, you are right. But I think Minnesota has got some really good pieces. The fact that Fleury is returning is huge to me. I think that is absolutely huge for them. And Marc-Andre Fleury will be the guy, and I think that's great. Their blue line still has questions, but they're still pretty good. And they were able to keep their big guy, Kaprizov. Kaprizov is returning, so he's back from Russia. Great news there. And I think that this team is just, they've got so much talent there. I could see them struggling in the beginning of the year, maybe with some of those younger guys, expecting a lot from Marco Rossi. Expecting a lot from Matthew Boldy, the emergence of Kalen Addison. As those guys kind of get their feet wet and start playing more NHL minutes, growing some confidence, I think they're going to be really, really good next year. And I do think, yes, that they will finish at the top of the Central Division. So that is it for my predictions of the Central Division. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. How do you think the Central Division will play out next year? Who do you have on top? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.